despair. It ain't over yet. We're gonna see what humanity's made.
It's time we take a final stand. Rise and band together and devise a plan. Organize and mobilize as a united fam. Put our differences aside and find a common ground. The time is now. It's the title bout. We in the final round. The system got our backs on the ropes. Time for action. They talking about casting a vote. Democracy's a cult. Socrates' philosophy states that demagoguery's the obvious result. When the masses lack proper education, they become susceptible to mind manipulation. And they react with emotional behavior. Idol worshiping politicians like they are saviors. Left-right politics only causes division. Will 2020 be the year that brings a perfect vision? We gotta fight for the future generations. Our greatest enemies, the illusion of separation.
This is the point in time where we all decide where we stand. The fate of humanity rests now, right in our hands. Ignite brush fires of freedom in the minds of man. As far and wide as we can, this is humanity's final stand right now. Reclaim our sovereignty if we want to be free and guarded with the full armor of God, viciously and honorably. So for tomorrow we preserve the future of man in the promised land. This is humanity's final stand. There's a storm coming, then again on a horn and warn someone, cause it's all coming to a head now. No more running and hiding, denying the facts, trying to act like it ain't right in your face. They right in your tracks. These psychopaths scumbags overplayed their hand power, grabbing and rattle the population. Now the cat's out of the bag. Biggest false flag ever perpetrated on mankind. You can't see it by now, you're going to your fucking grave blind. Playtime's over, the battle line has been drawn. The time's come to decide for your soul, what side do you want? Total freedom or tyranny, ain't no in between. How will you be seen in history by the future as the machine took their last stab at us? Exposed their whole apparatus with full fascists and threw everything that they had at us. Did you hold on strong and brave? Come out unscathed before they cave. How many minds will you know to save? Don't say that it's hopeless even though the future looks grim. So what with your options? What you gonna do? Just roll over this shit, ain't over, get up, pick your fucking head up. Ain't nothing to be afraid of. Let's show these motherfuckers what we're made of. This is the point in time where we all decide where we stand. The fate of humanity rests now, right in our hands. Ignite brush fires of freedom in the minds of man. As far and wide as we can, this is humanity's final stand right now. Reclaim our sovereignty if we want to be free and guarded with the full armor of God, viciously and honorably. So for tomorrow we preserve the future of man in the promised land. This is humanity's final stand.
It's Lucy and Jeff going for walks and talks, talk about banksters and Bitcoin and globalists and stuff. It's Lucy and Jeff and tacos and kisses. How you doing today, Lucy? Oh, pretty good. You finally got some warm weather. It's been freezing cold. Stupid Greta and global warming. What is it, 6 months now? Corona stuff? Wonder, will this ever go away? I'd like to thank Joe Murray. He's the rapper that did our rap track, F Government. And it's a track with Diesel Automatic called Final Stand. And yeah, in many ways it's starting to feel like this is sort of the final stand. I don't know. It's pretty amazing just to see how this continues. I see in California, they just shut down the entire state again.
So this is some pretty big news out of the state of California. The governor there just announcing that California is now closing indoor operations statewide for restaurants, wineries, movie theaters, family entertainment, zoos, museums, and also saying that all bars must close all operations, seeming to indicate both indoor and outdoor operations. Also adding in a separate tweet that in 30 counties, they will now be required to close indoor operations for fitness centers, places of worship, offices for non-critical sectors, personal care services, hair salons, barbershops, and malls. A major reversal for the state of California as it starts to scale back its reopening because of a surge in coronavirus cases. We're certainly seeing this in other places around the country.
All for something that isn't really anything, as far as I can tell. Here's actually a pretty good video that someone made called Corona, the Simple Truth in Under 6 Minutes. I'm going to play most of it because it's pretty good.
A few months ago, scientists discovered that there was a new virus that was said to be very contagious, very deadly, and without treatment. The experts, or those experts that our governments trusted to be the best, predicted an outbreak with an enormous death toll and a never-foreseen burden on hospitals and ICUs. We started testing, a lot, and guess what? The more tests we made, the more cases we discovered. There was only one thing we could do to prevent the world from ending: flatten the curve. Many countries took drastic measures trying to prevent the apocalypse, and did what humanity had never done before: shut down the entire society, shut down a major part of the economy, and quarantine the healthy. We installed social distancing, new rules, new laws, a new normal, things that could only be lifted as soon as there would be a new vaccine that could save us all. But, plot twist, months later, independent scientists look back and they now see that those predictions were all astronomically wrong. Deaths have been orders of magnitude lower. They are, in fact, even comparable to other severe flu seasons. And yes, there were local variations in severity, as always, in every flu season. But what was actually going on then? First things first, the world was not on the brink of an extreme outbreak of a highly deadly and highly contagious disease. Instead, we were already well underway in a pretty normal infection wave of a pretty normal mixture of flu viruses, in which, as every year, coronaviruses were the last of the season. The exponential growth in cases that looked so frightening was nothing more than the direct result of the exponentially growing number of tests performed, showing positives on people that were already weeks or months before exposed to the virus. Every year when we lab test people with flu-like symptoms, we always find a mix of viruses. Rhinoviruses always come first, then influenza A and B appear, and finally the coronaviruses show up in the game. So, what was different this year? Actually, nothing. Let's have a look at the infection waves in all countries. There seems to be no correlation between lockdown or social distancing and the run of the infection waves. Countries with strict or no measures did comparably well or bad in keeping the spread of the virus low. Actually, in most countries, social distancing was imposed well after the true infection wave, or R value, peaked, indicating that lockdowns did not cause the cases to drop. So, if all social distancing and drastic measures did not make the outbreaks halt, what did instead? The outbreak halted in most countries because of the same reason it halts every flu season, every year: atmospheric circumstances, like the weather, temperature, and humidity, and growing immunity that make it harder and harder for the virus to spread. But wait, didn't we learn that we were not even close to herd immunity? The world had to brace for a second wave and could only return back to normal if there was a corona vaccine? You know what? Why don't we first go back a bit and look at the corona killer virus again? The virus that was so terribly contagious, so terribly deadly, and had no vaccine. Well, turns out, independent science now shows it's even less contagious than influenza. It is about as deadly as a bad flu, and there is lots of scientific proof that there is an affordable, reliable, safe, and working medicine that can be taken in the early stages of the illness that will even prevent patients from getting hospitalized. So, all of this makes the danger of the coronavirus, or COVID-19, actually comparable to that of a mild to severe flu season. And yes, corona kills, for sure, just like influenza does, but it's not as deadly as illnesses that we have been living with for hundreds and hundreds of years without that much attention of the media. You might be wondering, those antibody tests only show 5 to 10% positives, and to be safe, we needed 70 to 80%, right? So we are not even close? No. What you've been told is not really what reflects reality. Let's first have a look at the amazing thing that is our immune system, which is composed by the innate immune system, your skin, your saliva, gastric acids, commensal flora, and much more. And your adaptive immune system, killer T cells, helper T cells, and antibodies. Pretty cool, huh? Turns out that for, like influenza and other types of viruses, most of us have an innate immunity already, which is, for example, why 75% of the elderly that were exposed on the cruise ship Diamond Princess did not get the virus at all, even though they were drifting around as a perfect incubator for a month. This cross-immunity, or background immunity, is very well known in science, but whoever cared to tell us about that? Maybe it's time we start to rethink our actions. Maybe we need to question social distancing, question the new normal, question the corona vaccine, and question the entire crisis. Maybe, after all, it's a really good idea to just inform ourselves, embrace independent science, embrace discussion, and embrace common sense. We've survived a lot of things already. We can probably handle this one as well.
And the lies just continue around this entire thing. You might remember that they said, well, they still say Mexico is one of the worst places in the world for the COVID-19.
COVID-19!
COVID-19!
How
dare you?
And you might remember as soon as they said that, when Sky News reported the ovens, they never stop burning.
The ovens never stop burning. Black smoke billows out from Mexico City's crematorium.
So we went to the hospital. There was no one there. As we drove up to the IMSS Zone General Hospital number 48 in the northern part of Mexico City, it was eerily quiet. Like with the crematorium, there were plenty of police cars and officers, empty parking lots, and barely any people except workers there. Pero, ¿por qué están? Yo escucho es mucha gente, no hay nadie, ¿no?
Es que es COVID.
Es COVID. Oh, limpiar.
Es un hospital COVID.
COVID. ¿Eso es?
Entran de aquel lado cuando vienen a hacerse la prueba.
Ah, okay. Pero no hay mucha gente, ¿no?
No, no hay mucha gente.
I went to the morgue. They were empty. Solo tengo unas preguntas. Primero, yo escucho que todos los crematorios es todos llenos. ¿Eso es verdad? No.
Espérame, sí, no.
¿Qué, ¿Tú escuchaste sobre eso que es lleno?
Sí, pero no estamos, está usando el servicio.
Okay. I even stopped in at a funeral place, and the guy said they're very quiet. I saw a funeral store, so I dropped in to see how busy he was. Hola. ¿Puedo entrar? Sí. Gracias. Solo una pregunta. Sí. ¿Estás muy ocupado con...? No. No. Porque las noticias dice muchos muriendo y cosas. ¿Qué piensas? No es verdad, ¿no? No. And a few weeks ago, they really, they just love attacking Acapulco in the news, in the news, the media. And it was like worldwide news. Acapulco's overrun with deaths. The hospitals are full. So I actually sent a guy. I didn't make a full video on it because it's pretty just obvious now that, and it's pretty simple. Like, we went to one hospital and asked, and the woman said, no, there's really no one there.
Estamos aquí en la sala de urgencias de COVID-19. Aquí me encontré a una señora que es trabajadora de aquí. Dice que el COVID-19. ¿Usted cree que existe el COVID-19?
Pues aparentemente dicen que sí, pero pues yo sinceramente pues da hasta miedo decirlo, pero no veo yo que sea realmente eso un problema tanto como para que la gente se esté muriendo.
No existe.
Pues no.
Hospital General de Acapulco Guerrero, Vicente Guerrero. Hemos preguntado a varias personas y dicen que no hay COVID-19. Que posiblemente los hospitales estén en stand-by. Es posible que no haya ningún caso de contagiados. Hay solamente presuntos contagiados, pero no ningún caso confirmado.
Yeah, Acapulco is fine. It's got the best tacos in the world too, should mention.
And now in the US, they're doing tons of tests. And the test is like flipping a coin, basically. So hundreds of thousands of people have it now, all by design. And the mayor in Phoenix was caught lying. This article says, as the number of hospitalized COVID-19 patients in Maricopa County climbed to new highs late this week, Phoenix Mayor Kate Gallego appeared on the Microsoft NBC channel, Bill Gates's propaganda channel, Friday morning for an interview with Chuck Todd and Katie Tur to discuss the situation in the state, which has moved to close bars and roll back other reopening measures to combat the outbreak. During the interview, Gallego claimed that the county's public health agency had just put in an order for refrigerated trucks because they were running out of space in the morgue.
Maricopa County, which is our county public health agency, just announced that
They are going to be getting refrigerated trucks because the Abrazo healthcare system has run out of morgue beds.
Hours later, as the mayor's comments started proliferating through the media, representatives for the hospital system called and complained that the mayor's comment wasn't true, despite the fact that she made the claim, seemingly with a high degree of certainty, on a popular cable news show. Spokesman Keith Jones told azcentral.com that Abrazo hospitals have adequate morgue space. Here's the story. Phoenix and the rest of the state have been asked to implement their emergency plans to prepare for possible COVID-19 overloads. Part of the plan, Jones said, was to proactively make sure there would be enough morgue space. So the hospital system ordered refrigerated storage weeks ago, but they have yet to be deployed. At this point, it's not needed. What a huge surprise. They're doing this all over the world, essentially making up that hospitals are flooded with people who have the COVID. And it's amazing how many people just don't seem to know it's all lies. And it seems everyone's wearing masks now, even though masks are completely, totally pointless. There is no actual dangerous virus that you can transmit. But it's amazing how easily people will fall for all this stuff. And I saw this, I got a couple of good videos to show you here. First one's from I Am a Price. And the video is called, I Chose Not to Wear a Mask, Forgive Me. I love this woman's energy. It's really the only way to respond to what's going on in the world is with this kind of view and energy.
This is a personal service announcement and a public apology to all the brothers and sisters who I'm triggering by this news. I want to start off this video by letting everyone know that I do not have a mask. I do not own a mask. I haven't bought a mask, and I have no plans to buy a mask. Now, if and when they make wearing masks federal law, then I suppose in order not to get locked up, I'll put one of these suckers on as well, just so that I won't be harmed by not wearing it. But until then, I've chosen not to. Now, if me not wearing a mask makes you judge me, I forgive you. If me not wearing a mask makes you nervous about your own health, I pray for you. And if me not wearing a mask upsets you, then I want to ask you, why? Why? Isn't it kind of similar to the whole vaccine argument, right? People who are mad about people who don't get vaccines, I don't understand, because if you got the vaccine and your faith is in the vaccine, then me not having the vaccine should do nothing to you. Why? Isn't that the reason you got the vaccine? Shouldn't I be the one who's nervous if I don't have a vaccine about my own health instead of the people who do, because that's why you got it, to stay safe? Yes, that's the same way I feel about these masks. Hallelujah. Everyone is right and no one is wrong. But I know one thing. I don't feel like walking around like I'm out of a scene from The Purge just because the government told me to, and I don't feel no way sick and I'm not no way scared about nothing. Ashe? That doesn't mean I'm out here going out kissing folks in the mouth that I don't know who said they just got corona. But what it does mean is that I'm not going to change the way that I do things that make me feel comfortable just so that everyone else can feel comfortable during this crazy period of uncomfortability. So again, this is a public service announcement to all of those who are triggered by anyone around you, not in hysteria, not afraid, not nervous, and not wearing masks and gloves as they get their produce, asking you for your forgiveness, and also encouraging your own confidence that the choices you're making about your health and immunity are going to be honored by the God that you serve, and I will be well. Same way with me, because I have an immune system that I trust, I have a God that I know, and I have a body that I'm aware of, so that if things are going wrong with it, I am the first to take care of those things on a shamanic, natural healing level. Ashe, I want us all to be well, but I also want us to be whole, and I want us to have clean hearts full of love. So again, if you are a mask wearer and you see someone without one, offer them your love and understanding and forgiveness, and be confident and sure that you will be well, and stop harassing folks and judging folks and getting mad at folks who trust in their own immunity, their own relationship with God, and their own common sense about what makes them comfortable and feel okay. Again, this is a public service announcement for all God's children, reminding you that all is well, nothing has gone wrong, everything's going right, no matter what happens, even if we leave this life, it was the plan this year regardless, no matter what. And nothing under any name, including Corona, can extend or shorten your days on this planet if you are a believer in the Almighty God and know that even the hairs on your head are numbered just like your days. So fear not, know all is well. We're all where we're supposed to be. I'm not wearing a mask, and if you are, I love you, and because I'm not, forgive me. Ashe, we're going to get through this together. Until then, stay safe. Peace.
And another great video by Kimberly Lynn called Wear Your Damn Mask, People. Don't be a grandma killer. We're all in this together.
Come my lady, come my lady, you're my butterfly, sugar, baby. Come my lady, you're my pretty baby, I'll make your legs shake, you make me go crazy.
And of course, Tom Hanks, who had the blahs, also mentioned that his wife lost her sense of taste and smell for a period of time. Oh my gosh. You mean just like when you get a cold? I don't know if you ever noticed that. If you have a cold, you can't smell much because you're clogged up, and the food doesn't really seem to have much taste. I think that's partly because you don't really have much smell. But you see some people, it's amazing that they come out with all these things that COVID might give you. Like you might lose your taste, your sense of taste and smell. But they don't mention that's normal with a cold. Or there was one going around that it gives you black toes. Okay? And of course, Richard Quest says coronavirus has made him clumsy. Okay? It's amazing, just all this sort of stuff. So many lies. And of course, the World Economic Forum, which I don't know if you ever noticed, has 3 6s in its logo, has been talking about the Great Reset, which is what I've been talking about here since we started the Dollar Vigilante. There's going to be a complete collapse of the entire monetary, financial system, the economy, and that's already all baked in the cake.
We need a great reset.
What should be the principles that underlie the reshaping of a new and better global economic system?
We're really looking at the Chinese economy as possibly providing the world with an engine forward out of the pandemic.
What is it that would make it so that history would look at this crisis as the great opportunity for reset?
The reset.
The great reset.
The great reset.
The great reset. The great reset. The great reset.
The great reset.
The great reset.
As well, things like the IMF, the World Economic Forum, the CDC, the WHO, they're all basically saying that humans are a problem and sort of a scourge of the earth and the environment. And they want to herd us all into smart cities.
Many governments around the globe are racing to infuse technology into just about every aspect of its city's operations. And I mean every part.
Including public transportation, IT connectivity, water and power supply, sanitation and solid waste management, efficient urban mobility, e-governance, and citizen participation.
And it does this using every buzzword imaginable, from big data to the Internet of Things.
You can look at these ancient hills and see nothing. Or you can see nothing to hold you back. No set ways of thinking, no restrictions, no divisions, no excuses. Just endless potential. This is the blank. Over 25,000 square kilometers of inspiration, with room for your biggest ideas. A part of the world set aside for those who want to change the world. A land created to free people from stress. A place where pioneers and thinkers and doers can exchange ideas and get things done. A startup the size of a country, that will change the way we live and work forever. Healthier, happier, with more time for the things that really matter. A truly global culture from every place and background you can imagine that can discover NEOM.
Oh, look at it. Aren't they beautiful? I mean, it's straight out of a Soviet Union propaganda film. Comrades, we have your beautiful standardized gulag block.
يفتكروا بشار الخير اللي اتعملت دي واللي احنا شايفينها وفرحانين بيها دلوقتي امر معمول كده.
So how many surveillance devices per square centimeter do you reckon they're going to have in these?
ده وراه جهد وهمة من رجال.
Oh, that Y-gig 60 gigahertz is going to scan their rooms. It's going to be in every room with a panel on every wall.
بنشكرهم ومن البنك الاهلي وبنشكره ومن تحيا مصر وبنشكره ومحدش يقدر لوحده.
God, look, I can't get it. I'm freaking out. Who said, hey, everyone will love this? They can't even make it a different color. They're building all this while we're all distracted with Bill Gates. It'll have full security, guards, full surveillance, face scanning with 5G Y-gig.
مع المرحلة الأولى من مشروع بشار الخير واللي كان بالفعل فتحة خير لسكان المناطق العشوائية من خلال إقامة نواة لتجمع.
Come in, my little poor peasants, you people who breed way too much. Come into our little gulag, into the abattoir. I mean, into the beautiful new state housing, Soviet-era slum with 5G.
And even the People's Bank of China is acting like great humanitarians and giving advice about the betterment of the planet and reducing CO2 emissions. Thanks, Communist Central Bank of China.
Can I just turn to you in your capacity as chair of China's Green Finance Committee and also in your role as an NPC member at the PBOC, just to get your perspective on how China will manage that transition and what we can expect?
I don't know about y'all, but I'm pretty hyped to see how the People's Bank of China is going to help the whole world go green.
One strong message that's emerging from these discussions is that the recovery has to be greener than any of the previous recoveries. And in order to do that, we need to ensure that the stimulus package, including fiscal and monetary, are much greener than they were before. The size of the stimulus package, including fiscal and monetary, are very, very big. In US, in some of the European countries, amounts to 10 to 20% of GDP. In China, the fiscal stimulus measured by broadly defined fiscal deficit is about 8% of GDP. So we cannot waste this opportunity to ensure that the very precious money that's raised from the next generation is spent on green and low carbon. And the other reason is that for many of these projects, especially infrastructure projects that the government will invest in, the carbon footprint is determined in the design stage of the project. And these carbon footprints or environmental footprints will be lasting for a few decades. So it's pretty important that we make sure that these projects are designed as green in the coming few years. In China, there are a lot of migrant workers who have lost jobs recently, and they're staying at home on the farm. And instead of paying them unemployment benefits and letting them to do nothing, we should ask them to plant trees and pay them money. I think that's a better way of utilizing money and making the planet greener.
I've heard from a lot of people that it's so frustrating that almost everyone doesn't seem to be aware of what's really going on, and everyone seems to be falling for this complete and total hoax. Well, there actually is, and I've heard people say things like, it's so frustrating, everyone in my family, they don't understand it, they don't get it. And no matter what information I show them, they don't seem to be able to understand it. Well, that's because you can't reason someone out of something that they weren't reasoned into. Most people in the world are completely under mind control. A lot of it from television programming. So there's almost nothing you can say to wake them up. But there is one way. Because basically what we're dealing with is billions of people who are all in a cult, and they're all brainwashed. It's kind of similar to like many different sort of cults. You can't really talk to them. They're kind of brainwashed, right? Well, Larkin Rose actually made an entire course on how to unbrainwash people. And it's actually not that hard. There's certain techniques you have to use. And it's like a 2-day course, but you can get it online. It's called Candles in the Dark. You can get it at attendcandles.com/VSL. And he mostly, the program was designed to kind of unprogram people from their statism mind control. But this can be used for almost anything. So it can be used for people with their COVID mind control, right? In fact, I would highly suggest that people check out this course, because if you know this way of talking to people, you will have a lot better life in general. Because the problem is, most people they're mind controlled. And if you don't know how to talk to someone who's mind controlled so that they can hear what you're saying, then you're going to have a really bad time. So this actually, the information in this course can be used for anything in life, because almost everyone is completely mind controlled. So I really suggest you check it out. Go to attendcandles.com/VSL. And I've heard so many people say it's really changed their lives. Because as you know, most people, they'll either yell at people, right? Like, wake up, you idiot. That has never once in the history of mankind ever woken anyone up. And the other thing that people do is they try to just avoid talking to people. But if you understand how to talk to someone who's been mind controlled, you can have excellent conversations with people like in your family or your friends, or your business associates, or people at work. So really recommend it. I think it's less than $100. I don't get anything from it, by the way. I'm just saying that this is incredible information if you want to be able to talk to anyone and actually have a decent conversation with them. Lucy, Ben, what are you eating? Lucy, what are you eating? What is that, an apple? Lucy, what is that? That looks, oh, it's a bone. Wow, you're good, Lucy. Yeah, I found it over there. It's a bit old, but it's better than nothing. And of course, this is a multi-pronged sort of a terrorist attack in so many ways. And one of the prongs of it is to keep people very divided and very confused and angry. And that's where this whole race stuff comes in that I was talking about in our last video. But I came across this video. It's called What the Left Won't Tell You About the Plight of Black People and the Myth of Systemic Racism. I'll play a few minutes of it here, because here's some very well-known black people saying that there really isn't racism on a systemic level in places like the US, or really in most places in the world.
Do you think that race plays a part in wealth distribution, or either a mindset that you can't
Today?
or cannot? Yeah.
No.
You don't?
No, I don't. You and I, we're proof. Why would race have anything to do with it? Put your mind to what you want to do and go for that. It's kind of like religion to me. It's a good excuse for not getting there.
Where are we in the United States of America in race relations, and what you see from day to day in your life?
Skip, they wouldn't want to ask me that. They wouldn't want my answer to represent it, because God knows I have been nothing but blessed. My whole path, these 33 years have been nothing but a blessing. I have never, and never is a strong word, I've never dealt with racism, and I'm glad I didn't have to.
There is a class of colored people who make a business of keeping the troubles, the wrongs, and the hardships of the Negro race before the public. Some of these people do not want the Negro to lose his grievances because they do not want to lose their jobs. There is a certain class of race problem solvers who don't want the patient to get well. That was said by Booker T. Washington.
How are we going to get rid of racism until...
Stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man.
But I asked you what the racial breakdown was of your audience. Do you remember this? And you told me the only black face you could see in the whole audience was your makeup artist. I believe that's what you said, and she was in the front row, right? A lot of white kids love rap.
Yes.
Explain that. What does that say to you? What's the message of it? What's the bigger picture of it?
I don't want to be bashed because I don't want to sound like I'm on the wrong if there is a side, but I thought that was clearly a message that there was no such thing as racism. That's what I thought that was.
You know, I said, and it's probably get me in trouble, but I said to some of my colleagues recently, so I know that it's an issue, but it seems like every single day on television I'm talking about race, and it's because of the news cycle, it's in the news, but sometimes I get so tired of talking about it, I want to just go, this is over, can we move on?
And if you talk about it, it exists.
Right.
Yeah. It's not like it exists and we refuse to talk about it, but making it a bigger issue than it needs to be is a problem.
You know, incarceration rates in America has been a problem, especially as opposed to minorities. And Roman delves into the issues around the legal system. Do you think we've made any headway in the legal system?
I think it's more important to make headway in our own house. By the time the system comes into play, the damage is done. They're not locking up 7-year-olds.
In the 1960s, 80+% of blacks were two-parent homes. Today, that is reversed completely the other way.
Blacks are convinced that the number one issue facing the country right now is social justice, racist white cops, discrimination, systemic racism, microaggression, whatever new word they come up with, and it's a bunch of nonsense. The number one problem domestically facing this country is a breakdown of the family. And President Obama said it, I didn't. A black kid, or kid, not just a black kid, a kid raised without a dad is 5 times more likely to be poor and commit crimes, 9 times more likely to drop out of school, and 20 times more likely to end up in jail. So you're far more likely to end up in jail without having a dad than you are because of a white racist cop.
So yeah, most of this stuff is just to divide, to keep people confused, angry, and not really know what the actual problem is. And the problem is the governments and the central banks, and the people who control the governments and the central banks. So definitely check out that Larkin Rose course, and also, if you haven't yet, check out the TDV Summit at tdvsummit.com. We've got 2 full days of how to survive and prosper through all this. And like I've been saying, so many people have said it's been so valuable to them. And it's actually, you'll see when you see it, I think we have all the comments from the people who watched it live. And actually everyone was making friends with each other. They're like, oh my gosh, finally I have other people understand what's going on. So in many ways, it's kind of just really nice to see that there is a lot of people who are awake to what's going on, and a lot of good solutions and ideas on how to survive through all this, which, man, I don't know when it's going to end. Well, I guess Bill Gates has said it'll end when the vaccines are ready. I'm kind of looking forward to that. I can't wait for all these people to take the vaccine, and then we won't have to hear from them anymore. You know, in some ways, maybe I'm not totally against this globalist agenda. If what they're doing is just getting rid of NPCs and zombies, maybe the world will be a better place. So, kind of looking forward to it. I can't wait for all these people to line up for their vaccines. And then a lot of them will be gone after that. Good. I would never do anything like that myself. I would never try to kill billions of people. But, hey, it's not the worst thing that could ever happen. That's sort of what they talk about in the Bible and the apocalypse and all this stuff, right? Is that most people will not have eyes to see and ears to hear. And Bill Gates even came out with his 666 vaccine, his 666 patent on basically microchipping everybody. And no one seems to notice. In fact, a lot of people are excited about it. It even said actually in the Bible that during this apocalypse, apocalypse means lifting of the veil. So for people like us, we've been aware of the lifting of the veil. We've begun to see the truth about what's really going on. But most people don't. And it says in the Bible that it'll tear families apart. It'll tear fathers from daughters. And that's what I hear all the time from a lot of people, is that their entire family is brainwashed and there's nothing they can do to wake them up. Well, I just told you, go to the Candles in the Dark website. Learn how to speak to brainwashed people. And it has an incredible success rate. Basically, every time they've tried it on someone, a status, but you can use it for other reasons as well, the person basically woke up to what a lie statism is. And with a really good conversation, it's all full of laughter. It's just techniques that you can use to talk to zombies, basically. And I should just mention that Freedom Fest got canceled and Narco Vegas got canceled, all because of the government, of course. But there is one festival going on from August 1st to 10th. I think it's in like New Mexico or something. Somewhere around there. It's called Jackalope Freedom Festival. I'll just play like a few seconds of their promo video here.
This ad is sponsored by Phoenix Crypto.
The 9th annual Jackalope Freedom Festival is free to camp, vend, and attend. This experience is a truly free and voluntary society, one that doesn't exist anywhere else on Earth.
I don't think I'll be going myself. I actually have some plans that week. But if you were looking for a place to go, to hang out around other pretty woke people, awakened people. I don't like the word woke, that's a whole other, it's kind of a bit of a psyop as well. But people who understand freedom and want to be free, check it out, Jackalope Freedom Festival. I have a link to it down below. And I've said this a few times, but I have no plans for Acapulco right now. We'll see what happens. I think we did some pre-sales, so if you did buy a ticket, feel free to ask for a refund. I don't even know if we have anyone working on it right now, but we will definitely refund if we definitely decide not to do it. Or you could just wait and just see what happens. I think it'll have to be well into the fall before we'll have any idea if it's even possible for people to get to Acapulco. So, interesting times. And yeah, you just, you know, so many people are going through so many, this is like a huge trauma on almost everyone in the entire world. This is going to have such massive repercussions. I'm sure many of you have already seen it. I'm sure many of you have already felt it. I even have days, not too many, but I'm like, I don't know if I want to live here anymore. But not very seriously, because you know, in many ways my life's pretty good. Live in a beautiful place, all that kind of stuff, but this is just unbelievable. It's the biggest terrorist attack ever. Like 9/11 is nothing compared to this. And I don't know when it's going to end. I think in the actual apocalypse stuff in the Bible, I think it says it'll go on for about 7 years. Could be. Oh, it's a little hairy chihuahua. Muy bien. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Please like, subscribe, share down below. What do you think, Lucy? Yeah, it was a good walk today. Let's go grab some tacos, and I'll give you some kisses.
You've seen the Dollar Vigilante on mainstream media trolling the fake news, and seen Jeff Berwick travel inside places like Venezuela and Cuba to expose the truth about what's happening in those socialist paradises. To get even more, make sure to subscribe to the Dollar Vigilante newsletter to receive 2 full 30-plus page issues from the Dollar Vigilante each month, plus market alerts on precious metals, Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and gold mining stocks by going to dollarvigilante.com/subscribe. Click on the link in the notes below or go to dollarvigilante.com/subscribe to find out more.